to 709 Meridian, an audio commentary podcast. My name's Andrew.
And this is D.
And we are back with our catch-up season of Nightmares on Elm Street. We are on Nightmare 3, Dream Warriors, not The Dream Warriors. So, Berenstein Bears effect for me there. And this is the entry where Heather Langenkamp comes back. Wes Craven is back for his last involvement in the franchise for 4 more movies. We talked about it last week. Chuck Russell, Frank Darabont. So this ties into our Blob episode from last summer. So go check that out. Actually, when you think about it, last summer's summer of remakes really sort of kicked off the Nightmare season when you think about it, because
we'd already done Freddy versus Jason too.
Yes, that not Paramount release. Yes. Oops. But we got it done, so I'm glad we're not doing it again. Nightmare 3, 1987. They took a year off, which is what, or actually not which, but because this was intended to be the final Nightmare. The second one made money, but it wasn't. They say it wasn't well liked by critics, but then you're like, when did New Line Cinema give an eighth of a shit what critics said? Not until at least 1989 or something.
Yeah,
right?
When they were making other stuff.
Yeah. They had to I think they released The Player. That might have been their big breakthrough in 92. So they didn't care what critics were. New Line Cinema was not worried about Academy screenings in 1987.
New Line Cinema was kind of the 80s equivalent to maybe AIP from the 70s almost, where they just had this stock of, the type of movies that they did. They did horror, they did comedies. They weren't doing the heavy stuff.
They didn't do heavy stuff. They also didn't do Skinamax.
No.
Because that was your USA Up All Night TNA movies, despite, and you had just watched Porky, so it actually wasn't a lot of girls, but that was like the last. The studios didn't stick with that, with Porky's and Revenge of the Nerds. They didn't stick with that. They let that go to your sort of C-tier studios. Yeah. Because
PG, and then it was the John Hughes shit.
Yeah. So New Line was in a very interesting place in the 80s. Because what they didn't do, we'll get started in a second, but they didn't really consolidate, right? Like they didn't, I don't think they bought movies. Like it wasn't like a Miramax thing where they, sure, Miramax, producers of Sex Lies and Videotape, except they just bought the distribution rights. New Line still made movies, I believe. So, and they weren't like Lionsgate buying up libraries and stuff until the point where you're basically 51% of the backlog or whatever. Like it was the house that Freddie built, and it took a while to build up, but it did very impressively in about 10 years, and Warner Brothers bought them, and that's why Shazam is from Warner, or it's from New Line.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Starting in 3, 2, 1, play.
Okie doke. Oh, it's still these must be
These are the remasters. This is the bullshit. Yeah, like New Line had
Warner doing that bullshit.
Gotta put their name on it.
Putting the new logo on old ass movies and shit.
I love it when they do it on like Casablanca and shit.
You're right. Like what the hell?
It's in 4D.
It's in black and white.
Yeah. Oh god, they must be loving that with the Warner Brothers Discovery logo. okay, what the original New Line logo, folks, was I think like red on. It was like a red outline on black, so like it really would have fit with this. It really looked like the house that Freddie built type shit.
It looked like the opening to Halloween 3. Those graphics.
Oh yeah,
So cool.
yeah. Check YouTube, folks. Somebody's got to have it. Okay. Um, Priscilla Pointer. There's there's a lot to say about the characterization of mental health care in the for youth in this film, but
But this
um,
is horror movie.
yeah, this
Uh,
is
this is horror movie mental health.
yeah,
You
this is
know,
not about helping. Nobody's
this
getting
is horror
helped.
movie.
You want serious look at mental health? Go watch Witches and Warriors or Mazes and Monsters, kids. Like, go get fucked
Oh
up.
god.
Go feel really weird and not really be able to like. Because I think what's so disturbing about that is that it is just kind of like you. I mean, you maybe weren't consciously aware that that shit could happen to one of your friends or something, but like
Mm,
at some point you're like, oh. Okay, so here we have 18-year-old Patricia Arquette, but actually 17-year-old Patricia Arquette, because this released in February of '87, which means that the cinematographer's anecdote about how the crew was just like macking on her the whole time.
oh man.
Real cool, real cool, real cool moves. We got our Coke placement there. We got some heavy metal to keep us awake. This did have a video. I did not watch the video, but apparently the video is this, and the inserts are like the album cover. So there's like footage and shit. So
Mm.
we're getting into that, which you discussed last episode. Um,
We
so
also gotta mention we see Wes Craven's name all over the credits here, and the year before this, they tried to keep it relevant in horror by doing Deadly Friend,
yep.
which was intended to be something else, and that's got a whole, legendary story behind it. But this here is, I don't know. It's not so much going back to the well, because
No,
this is
this
this is it's the same, but it's different.
yeah, and this one we talked about how the last one was very 1985
Yeah.
and very of that moment and things, and the John Hughes. I really like that vibe of it, the John Hughes Nightmare on Elm Street. This one is when we got into the late '80s horror period that in part had been built by Nightmare on Elm Street, showing you could do another franchise, which got people interested in trying bigger swings, I guess, with a little bit more money or a little bit more ideas. And
Mhm.
so you really get into just a different sort of the late '80s, starting probably with this horror genre, is just a little bit different than what came before it. Also, the special effects are great in this. So,
Yeah.
like, we've got this great transition here. Like, they figured out how to do it and they got a little bit more money for it. Um, uh, so I said I was going to talk about this during the credits and I forgot. Real quick, I read the Wikipedia, so I know everything. And
Oh shit! It's a dude jumping a rope.
And the
That's
little
kind of rare.
yeah. But the deal was that people were disappointed in the second one. Wes Craven was like, well, let's do a third one to at least like preserve my legacy. I can't direct it because I'm doing Deadly Friend, and his story for it was New Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in the other guys, Frank Darabont and Chuck Russell, and they made this. At some point, they offered this to Joseph Rubin, who was too busy doing The Stepfather, which I think we joked about was what he was doing last episode about this. But yes, they had the same thought. Hey, that fucking guy made Dreamscape. Let's get him. So, but we see, I don't know, like, I guess, I mean, the cast is higher tier than the second one for sure. The
Oh
first
yeah.
one, it's hard to say because the teen actors of that year, the teens who were in Nightmare 1, in that like pre John Hughes, like creatively, but simultaneous to John Hughes starting, that's a little different.
Nope.
So,
Switch to a dummy.
oh yeah,
It's
I'm
new.
just I'm just gonna say it right now. Angelo Baldamenti's score makes this feel like a fucking full moon production. I felt like I was watching Puppet Master.
A lot of synth, which was all of these movies at the
Mm-hmm.
time, with the exception of maybe Friday 13th. But, and there he is. So this is kind of the one that really cemented the popularity of Freddy. Because I believe part two was a really big video hit too. I think it also helped that they didn't drop a Friday the 13th in '87, I don't think. They missed a year.
Yeah. And I mean, this is higher concept than Friday the 13th has ever been willing to go.
Yeah.
Though it is going to be funny with the next one that basically um the Friday the 13th, what is it? 6, whichever, the fucking psychic one that
7.
like 7, yeah. Like it seems like it should cross over with this by the next one, I think. Um so if you want to um if you want to hear us talk about bad in camera effects, listen to the Poltergeist 3 episode. But what you have to realize with this one is those practical effects you're seeing with the actors and stunt people, that shit's, you know, real time. They're, doing effects of things blowing up by blowing them up and filming it around people like the Freddy tendrils and shit. Like some of that is 1 to 1. Like it's really fucking cool. Larry Fishburne should have been the doctor.
Yeah, he was still youngish.
He was
And
25. I forget how young he was in fucking
yeah,
Apocalypse Now.
he was still a young guy, big bro, energy.
Yeah.
And then yeah, up and down the hallway here with Craig.
All right.
You meet
So
our motley crew of troubled teens.
So at some point in this, Craig Wasson's going to talk to. Well, hold on. We're in the first act, so he's competing with Heather Langenkamp, um, who is a grad school hotshot who's done groundbreaking research on pattern nightmares. Are we going to talk about pattern nightmares? We are not. We're just going to say everybody's got them, but we didn't. We didn't pay for no pattern nightmare specialist to consult. Here we've got shitty mom. That nurse never comes back, I don't think. This guy, the other attendee, comes back. Leo Rossi here comes back.
Oh. Dig his mullet.
I know.
Oh. Oh. Fish is cut.
So Craig Wasson is probably, for the younger folks, the guy from Nightmare on Elm Street 3. The old guy from Nightmare on Elm Street 3. But for 6 or 7 years, Craig Wasson was your C plus.
Yeah, he was the affordable guy.
White boy lead. C body double. Okay.
Age appropriate.
He was also
over 21.
Willing to do things everybody else would say no to, like body double.
Body double, yeah.
Um,
and they just, I guess they have to make her look grown up.
Yeah. So she's 22 in this. They say that this takes place 6 years after the first one, and according to Wikipedia, 1 year after 2. There's no mention of 2 anywhere in this fucking movie that I saw. So that must be from a press release or something. But 6 years after means okay, it is 1989 actually. The date is on there. So yeah, so she would be 20, she'd be like a little bit older than 22. Not even that much older, because that's 4 years after the first one. So, or she was supposed to be 17 or 18 in the first one, right?
Right.
Yeah. But she lived. Her mom died. We'll find out. Like in a dream. So the end of 1 was actually mom's nightmare when she dies. Oh, the nun. Also, the nun is nobody, which is another sign that.
I don't even think they do anything with that either. They just, because at a point you would think, okay, this is going to be who's playing Freddy's mom.
No, then, she's recast, yeah.
Yeah, they keep just recasting.
But that was one of the strange things about this. Very MCU-like. They did actually keep their advanced timeline. Like, the last one, they're like, the near future. Ohio has been destroyed by Freddy's nightmares. Not Sean Astin here.
Oh, so he's like a Sean Astin, Corey Feldman hybrid. It's kind of scary.
It is. Very. Was he the son on My President or whatever on Fox?
The son on son. Oh, he was in Stand By Me. That was Chambers' brother.
And here we have Kincaid, who will apparently come
Yes,
back next time.
and fresh off of what's happening now. Oh, yeah, there's Joey.
There's Joey. Joey is
This dude here played a teenager well into like the late '90s. Seriously, like there's some TV movie I saw him in from like '98, and he's still playing 17.
So all of these kids are having Freddy nightmares. We have not really gotten to establishing that. We won't, we'll hear about it, but we won't see anybody else's nightmares. We don't have that budget yet. This isn't.
And we also find out because now we have mythology. These kids are, I think, the last
Yes.
Elm Street kids or something.
Which literally makes no sense, right? Like, didn't they fucking say they were like the last Elm Street kids in the first one? But we will get into like mythology of that by the sixth one. Actually, Freddy's Dead starts with somebody trying to escape Freddy's
Oh yeah,
notice.
Freddy's Dead is another one that kind of it has its mythology, but it's like its own thing because it barely. It's another one of the sequels that barely acknowledges the other ones in a way.
Yeah, it's Retcon City, and it's like set in the Predator 2 future, so that'll be fun. Okay, look at how creepily this is directed. Just wait until we see where he actually is. Like his little stalker files here. I got a weird sense memory from hearing that keyboard. He's got a pen, which means he's a fucking nerd. So be ready. Which means he will sell you out, is what that means. If you have a
Oh,
pen in your pocket,
oh yeah, that's what it's for. Click, click.
he's gonna he's gonna fucking sell you out to somebody. Nobody got away with not being a fucking or you were Rick Moranis, or you were a full on twerp. But nobody got away with a pen in the pocket until God, 93 was probably maybe you know what? I bet in I bet in Twin Peaks, Kyle MacLachlan had a pen in his pocket or something. Like I bet it came from TV and then it
Oh,
like
agent,
slowly, yeah, yeah,
agent
FBI,
characters
yeah,
definitely
they
because
could do it. Yeah,
they would have to take the. So what did you see here, ma'am?
yep. So it got okay, but this is the '80s, everybody. Those people are fucking nerds, okay?
And it, this is the beginning of the kind of. They had a bit of it in part two, but it will kind of be in continuity with each other. The MTV imagery and the sort of music video,
Like, how'd they do that? How'd they fucking melt that shit? I want to know. And then we get this, and we get some,
music video look of the movie.
yeah, those lights, especially
Everything through slits and
yeah.
smoky.
So it was really funny. I was listening to what we're just going to talk over this because it's kind of gross. Um,
Yeah.
this is like the grossest thing in this one, and there's like veins. Um,
Ugh.
I was listening to something talk about how people don't want to admit it, but hair metal gave way to grunge. Like grunge replaced hair metal,
Yeah, for sure.
and that was the thing. Though, is this was not part of grunge. Grunge did not have a
This is very
tie-in.
This is
to,
very rock.
yes, because it wasn't just this. Like lots of the horror movies of the late 80s had music video tie-ins.
Hmm. Oh yeah, this what we're gonna see actually in the next, because this here is kind of the start of a trilogy within the franchise, where the, this and the next two movies are pretty closely connected.
That's probably not Patricia Arquette and all of that, but it isn't some of it, folks. That's how they used to do it. Instead of fucking filming somebody on a green screen and up converting a fucking Resident Evil cutscene. Um, sorry. I read a trailer review of the new Paul W.S. Anderson movie
Mm.
where what they make fun of, and there's a lot to make fun of, is they make fun of it being shot on green screen. And they're like, you can just tell it's just the actors, in the center of the frame, and then the backgrounds are all green screen. And I'm like, yeah, you can tell that in the Marvel movies, and you can tell that in that fucking Superman trailer that everybody was like, the second coming. Like,
Oh.
that's not a reasonable thing to fucking. If you want to have that conversation, you need to have that conversation because it's everything. That's why Legends of Tomorrow could do so much. Is because they shot all that shit on green screen. Like they have whole fucking subplots on that ship shot on green screen. It's fine. We are actually talking through some very nice effects work there. But
Oh
here
yeah,
we
all the puppetry and animatronics
yep.
of Worm Freddy. Now, see, this also sort of brings another bit of continuity here with the house, where it looks like this for the next few movies, or at least this one and maybe up to five.
So Patricia Arquette in this movie, I will say, she's better than her sister usually is in this movie. But I will say, so I watched this again, not last night, but the night before. But then last night, we marathon the first four episodes of Severance, getting ready for the next season.
Yeah.
And she is the heavy in that.
Oh wow.
Um, Patricia Arquette is basically like one of those. We actually talked about it last episode. Patricia Arquette is more like 80s and 90s Meryl Streep than Meryl Streep is now 80s and 90s Meryl Streep type thing. She does those, disappear into your role type things.
Right.
You do not see that in this. There's not like the synth that is not starting. And so that is one of the most fascinating things about Patricia Arquette is we've sort of seen her entire career unfold in front of us, right? Like she's one of those teen to
Hmm.
adult actors. And it's a fascinating, rewarding trip. Because you see a little bit of Alabama from True Romance in this, because she'll throw in a twang for no fucking reason every once in a while. But
Well,
yeah,
Alabama was kind of a. She played it like a kind of sort of a childlike, you know.
Alabama was like a Marilyn Monroe
Yeah,
type thing.
sort of.
Like, yeah. But and then at some point, the synthesis of the standout performances amid well, she didn't really do a lot of She
She
wasn't.
never looked back on this. Because we haven't even mentioned it yet, but her character, spoiler alert, her character survives this, but she does not play Patricia Arquette does not play this character in the next film. Um, yeah.
Wait, the character continues in the next film?
Oh yeah, like I said, this
Well, I
three,
knew.
four, and five are a trilogy, but yeah, Patricia Arquette, she makes it in this one, but she doesn't play
Okay,
the
because
character in the next movie.
at the end of the IMDb trivia,
Mm,
they're like, in some ways, the series Medium is a sequel to this film. And I'm like, no, it's not. But okay. Thanks for trying. Halle Berry's performance in X-Men is that way because that's how Storm is written in the comics. Oh, I miss the old days of the fucking just people, the pre-IMDb forums, but when people were on fucking trivia page, when they treated the trivia pages like forums.
no,
Oh.
they just wrote any old damn thing.
Okay, so here we've got our kind of second or tertiary male lead here. Like this guy actually plays quite a bit into it. Um, but
The wheelchair
that's
wizard.
yeah, Wheelchair Wizard. That's a little bit what's different about this one. Well, no, it's not what's different. Well, it is compared to the second one, which basically was only about one kid. Um, this one really focuses on the supporting cast. While we have Craig Wasson picking up on Heather Langenkamp, who's trying so hard, but it's just kind of like I was watching this and then I was like, dude, Just the 10 of Us was after this.
Yeah, see, that was the issue I kind of had with her. It was like she got so far here. They were, and nobody. I don't know. I get the fact that she probably didn't want to be like the next Jamie Lee Curtis or something, but to come so far and then go back and to some sitcom and play a teenager again,
Yeah.
even though I like Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. We were the target audience.
Yeah. Shit. I'll
Like,
watch that over Growing Pains any damn day. Shit.
whoever came up with Just the 10 of Us,
That's right.
they deserve an accolade for getting
I just
teenage boys of the era interested in nighttime sitcoms.
mm-hmm. At least three of the four were
Yeah, and it was just, and then there were hijinks, and then yeah, it was. Well, shit, isn't Brooke Thies in the next one, or was she in a?
yeah.
Okay,
And then one of them I think was in two, from what I remember.
all
She was
right.
one of the girls on the bus.
So here we got a little.
Yeah.
So I would imagine. So that's the only thing is, I wish they'd done a better transformation to reality, um, because it's too music video otherwise.
Mm.
Um,
Oh wow.
Jim Henson tried his damnedest to get puppetry accepted in popular entertainment as a creative thing. And even
Mm.
after Yoda, it still took some time, but they got there. Like,
Well, shit, people, and this ain't a hot take. I don't give a damn. People give a shit for. Well, he didn't do Howard the Duck,
No.
but thing of it is, without Henson, you wouldn't have had. I think they had to ask him for help with that because if you didn't have that later on, you wouldn't have had the Ninja Turtles. You know.
And that was Henson.
Yeah, that was, and they just kind of was the evolution of that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so
This
Freddy
is
has made a puppet
yeah.
out of this kid,
This is
a
pretty
literal
fucked.
marionette.
31 minutes in. This is pretty fucked. So this is I think this is our first kid death.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of this group of kids.
Yeah. So I mean, like, we're not rushing things here, right? We're Coach was
No,
probably already dead in the first one at this point.
yeah,
We also haven't
yeah.
talked about um, Jennifer Rubin, who
Oh yeah, another one who became sort of the. She benefited. She played off of this a lot in the next few years. Uh, that looked like almost a comic book cover.
mhm,
Right back to group.
yep, right back to group.
Damn.
We can't afford an ambulance, long shot. Come on. I mean, they
They
can't.
could,
The money
they
went to
could
the
put the
effects on this. Like,
they could just put the sheet over him and put him in the back of the. Damn.
okay, so here's where we establish they're having the shared dreams. And what's very amusing about the way this is written is the way they write Priscilla Pointer's moralize. So, like, we might have already missed it, but there was some scene where Craig Watson's telling, "Oh yeah, here we get the cowardly." He lets everybody down. So this is how they thought you did anti-suicide messaging in the '80s, folks.
All right, because fucking
You're
here
gonna
we
let
go.
down the team, and now
Oh,
we find
wait a
out.
minute.
Hold on.
Here it comes. Wait.
This is some bullshit. They're like, Kincaid has to be locked in the quiet room
Right.
because he's so
Oh,
bad.
right.
And then
The
what's he
quiet
do?
room.
What does he do? He fucking goes and hides in a corner
Yeah,
because
he
he's
backs
like,
up into a corner and they
he's
call the
freaking
fucking.
out. And they just need to talk his ass down. And instead, we're going to fucking
They,
put him in a headlock.
they scoop him up like a fucking
Okay.
stray cat. Just
It's
fucking
just like, damn, man. Like, literally all he needed was some talk therapy. Like,
just talk him
maybe
down.
like original series Frasier would have helped Kincaid easily enough. Like, come on. I don't know about second series. Like, good people, I don't go there. Sorry, was that out loud? Yes, it was. But anyway, so yeah, Craig Wasson says Priscilla Pointer thinks it's, they've been, they're horny teenagers who listen to heavy metal, so this is why they have nightmares. And I'm
you
like,
know,
I don't think psychology ever thought that.
uh,
Did they? Because if they did, we shouldn't be listening to them even
I
more than,
miss I miss the Priscilla Pointer or Louise Fletcher character in these
yeah.
movies. just a straight up asshole. I was like, listen, damn it. I want to flex my authority.
They all are sort of just Nurse Ratched in one way or another.
Right. I'm just gonna flex my authority and tell you to shut the fuck up, and we're gonna hit him with 50 cc's. Okay, so Fishburne just telling it like it is. You watch too much damn TV. Oh,
We should be able to recognize what they're watching. I forgot what it is, but it is something.
no, I know what it is. It's she's watching Critters, another
Okay.
New Line.
Yeah, I mean that's what like New Line had other franchises and shit. We just talked about Ninja Turtles. That was New Line's PG franchise. Like New Line fucking worked.
Yeah.
Like New Line was like the Fox TV of movie studios in a way. Like
Pretty because they cranked out a lot in such little time.
But I don't think Jennifer Rubin stuck with them. I think she hopped over to Sony for Bad Dreams. And then she had a hard.
Right. Because she didn't maintain it. She was on the way.
Yeah.
Something happened.
She just never had a good enough theatrical vehicle. And she did like highbrow, soft core. Not soft core. I mean, like, I don't know how, but I think one of those was like NC-17 for the fucking giggles, like so they could get some notoriety or something. And then
was it a Zalman King?
I don't think it was Zalman King. I think it was somebody else. But she was in Delusion. That was really good with Jim Metzler from Tex, who sort of looks like Arliss Howard, who sort of looks like Craig Wasson. So we have not discussed really how Craig Wasson is who you got if you couldn't get probably Arliss Howard in some ways, because Arliss Howard,
they're all sort of connected in a way.
he had a I think Arliss Howard had a good opinion of himself. So he wasn't going to do a Nightmare on Elm Street. But Craig Wasson basically looks like Bill Maher, who basically looks like... Craig Wasson's just a ginger Bill Maher, and then Bill Maher's just a fucking short James Woods, and James Woods is just a fucking goofier looking Peter Weller, and Peter Weller's just a tall Ed Harris, and Ed Harris is just a leading man Will Patton, and Will Patton almost looks like Arliss Howard, and it's just the ring of not ready to be character actor white guy actors in the 80s.
Yeah, they played the blue collar guy well. They weren't gonna play the lawyer. They were either a carpenter, somebody who made makes buildings or shit.
God, that's so fucked up that we had to have that. Like, think about Multiplicity is about, which I have not seen in 25 years at this point, so that's going to be a fucking return someday.
Glad I don't have to see it anymore in that shitty painted scan.
Oh my God, remember that? That was one of the ones where it was just like, this is just broken. Like, this
Horrible.
system is broken. We need to talk about it being broken. Um, but he's a fucking contractor in it because he's got to be tangentially working class to be accessible. I think was he like working class who made it in My Life too? I only
Yeah,
ever
wasn't he an
saw that
architect in that
once.
one?
Yeah, but he came up from contracting, didn't he? Come on now.
Right, there you go.
With fucking, 42-year-old Michael Keaton and fucking 23-year-old Nicole Kidman.
Well, that was the thing with him. He was always a guy in some sort of like if he wasn't a contractor, he was like the automobile guy,
Yeah.
like a Mr. Mom and Gung Ho.
Hi.
Yeah.
We're not going to address the fact that Craig Watson's seeing things.
Oh, that's right, because she doesn't even.
Yeah, she doesn't register it and it doesn't become a plot point, which is fucking wild.
She's dressed like Alexis Colby.
Mm-hmm. Because she's got to look grown up, which would be a hilarious subplot for this, but they don't have one because she has no story, which is really kind of fucked up.
It
Um,
had to be weird for her though, because in anything else, she's still playing a teenager at this point. Heather Langenkamp.
yeah. Well, so Wes Craven called her and asked her if he could put her in this, and she said yes.
Mm,
But then the movie that got made was this and not New Nightmare.
right.
In New Nightmare, she does not have Craig Wasson macking on her.
So I just remember at the time as a kid, you got that kid logic, and you still think she's a kid. And it's like, what is this old man?
And she's got to like pamper him. Like she's got to reassure him professionally right now. Like,
Right. Even with that goofy streak in her hair, it
just the
looks silly.
combination of a big hair and the streak makes it feel like it's like some weird comic book adapt self-aware. It's like she's out of the Spirit TV movie or something. Okay, so this is unofficial group, which will be a big deal because they're not allowed to
All right.
have unofficial group.
Because now
Also,
they're all onto it, right? They're about to compare notes.
so we talk about the Hypnosil in this, and that will come back in the other movies, right? Like this is like the Hypnosil trilogy or something, I think. Um,
Uh,
or no,
I no, I don't think they mention it after this till
six.
right.
Okay. They make a big deal about how Craig Wasson prescribes the kids Hypnosil. They never get it. There's no point in the movie where the Hypnosil has time to get there. They're at a geographical oddity. They're 3 days out from Hypnosil everywhere. Like,
Freddie stopped the shipment.
Freddy stopped the shipment at the edge of town because, as we'll discover in later films, Freddy actually has complete control over Springwood. Okay, so here they're the last of the Elm Street children. We are 45 minutes into the movie. Why didn't we open with a joint dream sequence with these like young versions of all of them running from some unknown terror?
There you go.
But also that means they killed Freddy when um Heather Langenkamp and them were like 6 from the first movie. 6 plus, which is sort of not what it implied. I don't feel like.
I just looking at Craig Watson. In my head, I just keep picturing him in that scene from Body Double. This stupid leather jacket on,
Oh God.
and his hair all slicked the fuck.
Craig Wasson is so.
trying to mac on Melanie Griffith.
Okay, so I don't know when Craig Wasson obviously started coming off like a creep. Because I don't think I've seen his first. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen Roller Coaster, so I haven't seen Hippie Kid yet. But I
Well,
bet
no,
he could.
he was nice guy because he showed up on like the ISIS show, the Mighty ISIS, not
Oh, he's what happens to the nice guys who grow up and never
right.
grow
Then
up.
he
Okay.
sort of fell into you know kind of creep territory.
I do wonder if some of the problem with update doing a new Freddy. Also, obviously, Freddy should be. They won't do this because we know that they don't have the balls required. Wait for it. Ready? Freddy should be Amber Heard, and it should fucking just be made to piss Johnny Depp off. That's all it should do. Just it should be a fucking incel troll.
You
Like
know,
that's what it should be.
a female Freddy Krueger might actually be the twist they need for like a reboot to
Mhm.
work because they done tried it and the shit didn't compute. So you really want to be
You got to figure something out. Like, or you've got to bring somebody in who's going to be the personality. Like, because you can say whatever you want about where the franchise goes with Freddy and shit, but like, how many Freddy's Nightmares was on? Like, it was not. It was a success for a while, right?
yeah it because it had I think in a lot of markets it had this SNL lead in. So you watch SNL, you stick around for Freddy's Nightmares.
But like they made it into a brand, like, and you could do that again, which is why when they remade it the first time, I said the only way, other than like making it a good movie, which they also didn't do, um, they needed to get Johnny Depp.
Man, yeah, it actually would sort of work as a creepy Freddy.
Yep. Because he could have done makeup, he could have done like he could have
Yeah, 'cause
changed, like he
yeah,
could have
he likes being those characters.
yeah,
So
it could have been
oh,
a whole thing.
she became Punk Storm.
Yep. Jennifer Rubin does is about as well as you can do with this, I feel
Yeah,
like. So this apparently was they were pretty much, I guess, able to, well, I didn't read the trivia paragraph. I didn't care, but there's a whole paragraph on IMDb about how this was actually the hardest cast apart, um, because presumably at some point they ran out of women who wanted to show them their boobies during auditions. So this was like their most exciting cast, they say.
God, the 80s. Those poor women. We got a part for you, but we need to see your tits first. Uh, so keeping in line with the we have another tongue gag from Freddy.
Yep,
You know, it's the third one.
because it is fucking gross. Um, just the fucking lingering nipple shot to piss off the MPAA. And no transformation though. Like
No,
that's what I want. I want a
just
transformation, right? Like you want
well,
to fucking terrify this kid. You just have that chick turn into Freddy. Like
I think there was a. I don't know if they cut it. I would have sworn there was a shot where it was his head in her body, and then they cut that out because it was like it's too much.
it's too much. Oh,
Like a Freddy with titties and shit.
I mean, they could have done a phone a therapist. I'm just saying, you know. Please call us if you're having trouble reconciling that. Um, but yeah, so they're in the first joint dream sequence, and it is 50 minutes in when, yeah, we should have had this should be the second joint dream sequence or something.
And should be pointed out that this is the franchise amongst all the popular ones back then that gave the victim the opportunity to turn the tables on the bad guy because now they've discovered in dreams they have superpowers. So it gives them a fighting chance
Yes.
to take on Freddy
And
as
that will be
opposed to,
a yes.
anything else where the killer is just indestructible till you just kill it dead.
Oh, we're all passed out because of my fucking metronome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, we couldn't get somebody else for some of these bit parts. Just in the sort of vein of not feeling too much like Puppet Master 3 or something.
Well,
Those
this
were too
was
self-aware though. Like that's kind of the problem with that is like you could have people mugging on purpose, but here we get like some guy who Michael Pataki's like, you're a little fucking broad, dude, with your fucking pens
Pataki.
in your pocket.
This is mid '80s, so Pataki was clearly still playing like he's gone into his Russian villain phase.
Dude, he could have been the Russian villain who was giving them hypnosil. Oh,
No, wait,
yeah.
wasn't he? He was he was in a Halloween, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in
Halloween
Halloween
4.
4. Yeah. Yeah, Pataki alert on that one. Yeah. So Craig Watson has gotten fired, or he's suspended for running group without permission.
Yeah.
And
Priscilla Pointer walked in and enough of this
saved
shit.
them. Yeah.
Uh, oh, look, it's
What's
the
up
picture of him
with
and the
kids? Yeah.
two ones that are already gone.
Uh-huh. They never do that with these. Like, did they do that? I mean, the second one implies that they should be doing that, but they don't. Is that Craig Watson's like the obvious suspect here. So Wasn't that the window that the kid jumped out of?
Yeah, the tower.
So, okay.
Now
Yeah,
this
this
is
is,
very sort of gothic horror where she's a
yeah,
ghost.
she's a ghost. We're running up Hitchcock stairs. Like,
So I'd
there are
have to give him
birds.
credit. I gotta give him credit for sort of, you know, crisscrossing things with this one. You know, it's not just Freddy hacking up shit, which, it sort of becomes in the next couple.
Yeah, they're trying to mythology build. They're trying to give it a vibe. Why? I- Dude, you know who would have been better? Tony
Hmm.
Dennison in 1987. This could have been his breakout. Like Jameson Parker, he could have done this and the Prince of Darkness. I don't know. No, I feel like Tony Dennison.
Jameson Parker would have had to wear a mustache.
He also probably would not. Oh God, I don't know. Would he have fucking hooked up with the girl? I don't know.
He would have looked just like Craig Wasson, a little too
Well, it's the fucking jacket, man.
right.
Craig Wasson looks like some guy who fucking. He's like the Montgomery Ward serial killer or something.
The dude in the model mag, the sales mag for
Just like
the blazer. Doesn't have the patches.
I don't know. We're gonna have to look. Okay, so this is where we get Freddy's origin story. His
All
mother
right.
was repeatedly raped by a floor of the
Mentally,
criminally
yeah.
insane. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which basically
Uh,
she was a nun in Arkham.
yeah.
She was a nurse in Arkham.
And so the reason he is still out there hacking up kids in their dreams, which we don't establish why he's not bothering Heather Langenkamp anymore because she's surprised he's still alive, right? So, but she shouldn't be because she defeated him in the first one. So
Yeah, she was the one that got away.
yeah, they never deal with that. Um, I forgot where I was going, but yeah. Well, I mean, like, let's be real. There's probably 15% of movies made with dudes in the leads from, God, I don't know, probably definitely sort of in the current or just previous era of the late 20th century of cinema, where in hindsight, we've got wait, it's just like, there's just lots of bad parts. Like, there's just parts that you don't want to talk about because it would just be that the therapy meme and you just don't need to draw attention to it. um there are jewels in that rough as far as performances go, but what's the thing about
Uh-oh.
what's that John Singleton one, Baby Boy, where it's just
Oh,
like it is just about him not fucking It is just about Tyrese being full of shit or something, and like,
Yeah, that movie,
yeah.
man.
The other thing that
Oh,
really bugs me about this, there are a couple things that are going to bug me about the end, but the thing that really bugs me is Priscilla Pointer never gets her comeuppance.
no, they don't give her a old lady from Gremlins moment.
No. And if you're going to do that with it, you should have like Priscilla Pointer be possessed by Freddy or something.
Right, right. So they'd have to take her out,
Yeah.
and then he jumps out of her body out of, as
All
they kill her.
right. Here we go,
Oh,
everybody. It's John Saxon.
still in costume from the first movie.
No, because he's a security guard now.
Yeah, but he's still got the look. That's a sheriff badge.
So, oh god,
Security,
he
but look at
does.
that
Holy
shit.
shit, John Saxon. I'm gonna keep it. It's mine. I was thinking about how
It says security, but that all you did was switch around sheriff.
I think that John Saxon is the saddest of these guys
Well, yeah, well, shit.
because he's been around for so long that you've liked him in stuff. He's been good in stuff. He's saved stuff out there, I'm sure.
Well, you know what? What didn't happen for him? They couldn't get him as the lead in like a third '80s nighttime soap opera.
Yeah, why isn't he
That's what he needed.
Dynasty? Why isn't
Yeah,
he a working
no,
class
he
Dynasty or
was
something?
he was in Dynasty, but you know what he played in fucking Dynasty? I think he played like some evil Arab sheik that was trying to kill the characters at one point. Some shit. Like, that's what they made him do on there.
Uh,
And then on the
because
A Team, I think he played a villain 2 or 3 times.
John Saxon's yeah, he always was the villain on TV.
Because it was always him or Richard Lynch after a while.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, I think this is where we basically kick off the end of the movie, right?
yeah, this is about to.
Yeah. So this is actually only a 96-minute movie. Like it just has a really
It's tight.
deliberate setup. Yeah.
Uh,
Blue Lights Crystal Lake alert. Were you taking her, Craig Wasson? Or no, that's where dad is drinking.
well, the thing about the last half of this movie is basically here. We're gonna. It's almost like the finale of the Fourth of July fireworks, where they're gonna just show you every bit of special effects
Yeah.
that they
Okay.
came up with.
Here's the thing, Craig Wasson. John Saxon's been hitting people in the face his whole life. You haven't. I haven't. John Saxon, he has.
Yeah, Craig Wasson is. Come on, man.
And like that's what really the problem is like if you had somebody in this with a little bit more be polite, I'll say affect. Range would be another word I could use. Ability would be the big one.
Uh,
If Craig Wasson were really like the fucking shadow lead, that would be fine. And that's why I said it should be Larry Fishburne, is because Larry Fishburne has some depth in his scenes. Craig Wasson, like,
well, It was the 80s, though.
I know, but still, John Hurd.
It makes more sense the way you put it, but
You need John Hurd in this, but also I don't want to. John Hurd's got enough problems, but this would be a great John Hurd lead.
well, yeah, he would have been youngish enough then.
Yeah. You could not have him being creepy around old girl, but would he have been? It was the 80s.
What are you doing, son?
I feel like also they should have had Robert Englund in for all of these like jump scare. It's
Yeah, for
somebody
something like
else.
that.
Yeah. Or this should have been the setup for the sequel, not what they do, considering what was apparently either cut or scripted or something. We'll discuss.
Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. You ain't getting in
See,
here.
this is the problem in this movie is we're cutting between a real movie and Heather Langenkamp in her hair. Real movie, Heather Langenkamp in her hair. Real movie, Heather Langenkamp. Oh, wait, we crossed over. That's wild. And Larry Fishburne keeps it together because he's Larry Fishburne.
No, it's not really that gray either. It looks more
No,
blonde.
I don't know what. Was that in the first one at the end? Or is this just for this?
No, she did have a gray streak.
By the end? Okay.
Yeah, like somewhere, 'cause the lack of sleep or whatever. She got the gray streak, like the mother from Poltergeist.
I also feel like we need to talk about how grad student Nancy Thompson spends an hour at the salon every morning, right? Like
Yeah, she's very
with that
well coy.
volume. Yeah.
She's pissing off Elizabeth Shue. There's only one big hair queen around here, baby.
Oh, damn. Oh, oh. Okay, so they buried Freddy's remains at the junkyard. So, yeah, and this does feel like the plot itself at this point feels very final with the we're going to lay Freddy's bones to rest and only
Well, then
sell these three in a package.
the other thing that happens too is like I think they if intended to be the last one, this would have been a reasonably decent ending, I
Yeah.
guess. Oh shit!
But you like all these kids. That's the thing is like the least likable one was the first to go. And he wasn't even like he wasn't given major Feldmans. He was just like given like Disney Channel Feldmans.
Yeah, slacker.
Yeah.
I'm not getting out of this chair.
It would have been interesting to see what a Joseph Rubin Nightmare 3 would have been like because presumably they would have stuck with all the I mean, would he have done different types of special effects for, because I mean Dreamscape, I don't know. We uh, maybe we'll do a 1984 episode season someday, but or is that 85? I don't know. But Dreamscape's dream sequences are elaborate mixes of practical stop motion, like 3 layers of fucking shit, like
Yeah,
the
and they have
special effects. Yeah,
different. Everybody has a different one. It's a different landscape.
they really go into it in that, and that I don't know how much the budget differential is, but like it's not the same vibe at all. So it'd be interesting to see both what he would have done, but also him doing more in camera effects. Because I don't feel like he never really went back to genre after.
Mm-mm.
Oh, he did that Julianne Moore alien kidnapping thing
Mm.
in like 2007. That's supposed to be like fucking just horrifically bad, but I don't think it has like a lot of special effects. There's some question about whether or not mom's dead or something in the trivia page.
No.
That's a really good fucking composite, folks.
Yeah,
That
right
was
there.
really fucking good there. Yeah, like
Whoo, down the stairs. Well, she couldn't dream herself with shoes on.
no. She's got to learn to dream in an outfit change, right? Like if she wants to be Mary Lou Retton, she needs to have some gear. Get her Simone Biles on or something. Jennifer Rubin dreams she was a Blade Runner extra. I mean,
She was the replicant he didn't get.
mhm.
Now,
Hold
this
on.
is kind of a
Go.
this is kind of a disappointment here.
Yeah.
Problem is, she has to go because you need fodder. Because if any of these kids should have survived, she
It
should
should have
have.
been her. Yeah.
Technically, Wizard Kid shouldn't have got it either.
I
Damn it.
mean, none of the
He
final
has
three should have. The actual,
no.
yeah, they should have gone on to four. Like, yeah. So now, some of the. That's why it's so perfect that Johnny Depp should have played it because Robert Englund ad-libbed the
Oh,
like
shit.
a lot of the bitch lines. So like he ad-libbed the misogyny. That would have just been amazing. Like just so prescient. Or maybe Johnny Depp would have gotten it out of his system. Um
Oh, see, he missed her hand, her arm.
yep. Oh yeah. But even with like Freddy is not mugging here, right? Like he's getting in his one-liners, but he's still
Yeah, he's still
terrifying.
menacing. Yeah,
Yeah, it's all in for
all of
that
that is gonna
purpose.
change though within the next couple movies.
Because now this is 87. We talked about them taking a year off. The next one is 88, and the one after that is 89. Like they're People want to make fun of Halloween 4 and 5 for not really being like real movies coming out within a year of each other.
Uh,
That's all of these. Like that's
now we'll get to it, but 5 was seriously fast tracked.
yeah, I
This
think I'm
kid
gonna
played the nerd in something else too, I think. Oh,
what year was Manhunter? 86?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was at the heart of Miami Vice. Boom. That's right. Magic his ass up out of there.
I like how the costume director's version of Wizard Master is a Dracula cape, but also look how original Harry Potter was.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking wizard nerd. Shocker.
They
Yeah.
also ripped the fuck off the worst witch.
I mean, isn't it just books of magic? Like the fucking Neil Gaiman shit?
That too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's all
mean,
just.
the lead character in that.
Well, I was reading about Grimm because I didn't realize that show existed.
Oh,
No, I didn't. That and Once
shit.
Upon a Time or
Yeah,
whatever.
Grimm and Once Upon a Time. Come on now. And then
But
they never did shit with Fables, which
right, I
pisses me.
was like, oh, so they just ripped they just were like, hey, we
Yeah, they
can make
just ripped
Fables
Fable.
without paying for Fables. Let's do that.
They didn't pull the trigger with Fables, so they said, "Oh, we'll do Grimm, and then we'll do Once Upon a Time." Well, Disney,
Yeah.
you know,
Were they Once Upon a Time?
yeah, because they brought in their shit. Like,
Oh,
eventually they had Frozen on there or some shit.
holy shit.
Yeah, I never watched it, but
No, I'm not. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so we're down to our final three here. Take your bets.
I like that though. The floating
Yeah.
door. All right, yeah. So everybody else is gone except uh before we get to the final boss, we got to rescue Joey because I
That's
think
right.
he's still in there somewhere.
Does Joey make it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
And I watched it a day ago. Um, yeah, they do a really nice job with
Yeah, look at that.
the next one is going to be the one that really does that. Like the next one's
Yeah, the style, the look.
got me my Hopkins on closed sets. Just what I like. All right, so here we are at the junkyard set of Christine. Like this bummed me out because I was like, they didn't really do. I mean, they're gonna do something with it. They're gonna do something fucking wild with it. That like
Oh,
I I don't know if I forgot or maybe didn't acknowledge it, but this one is very like effects oriented very
yeah.
ambitious in its effects.
Because this was
Like
at the time, you know, all these guys were just coming up, and shit like this, and the gate, all that shit was coming out.
Yeah.
Around this point.
Where are you going, John Saxon? Nowhere.
Right. Getting up out of here.
So
dangerous that son of a bitch is.
okay. We haven't seen Little Odessa. You know how to get rid of fucking bodies. Like, come on. I need to see that again. I've been dreading it for 17 years.
I like the fact that Kincaid is the first, not only one of the only brothers to live, he's one of the only Husky brothers to get through.
Right. God, I hope is he gonna get a shitty death in the next one? Because like,
Yes,
right.
it's one of the most disappointing. Well, that's one of the cons of the next movie, that they didn't give these kids another really good chance. Especially getting through this one.
Yeah.
And that's what they always say, when they kill off the survivor of one of these movies in like the next movie, it sort of diminishes the win
Yeah.
in a big way. So all you kids out there getting ready to go see Courtney Cox and Nev Campbell in the next Scream, remember that.
Get ready.
Remember that. They can't be in them forever, so.
Oh, I think they're gonna kill Nev Campbell before they kill Courtney Cox.
You think so?
Yeah.
So I think they're going to kill Courtney Cox.
Nev Campbell won't do them forever. Courtney Cox has shown
Oh,
she will.
that's right. And Nev Campbell has a kid who's suddenly a teenager in this one, I think.
Oh, damn. Okay. She was in the fourth one, right? I have no memory of that, and I saw that. The one where it's Emma Roberts, who
Yeah,
sucks on multiple levels. Yeah.
she was in that one, and she was in, God, 5. Yeah, the one with Quaid.
Okay. Four did not get me jazzed for another, so.
No, they look. Honestly, they should have never even did past 2, but even 2 isn't all that great.
No. When the when your franchise is predicated on the idea that horror film franchises are a bad idea,
Yeah, and
you
you
run
keep
into
doing
some
them.
trouble. Yeah, you run into some trouble. Like,
Now, I mean, they don't even have. Remember, initially it was about the rules,
yeah,
and there were specific rules. What do you have? Where are the rules for like part 9 now? you know, what are the rules past anything can go? So,
right. Maximum overdrive. There must have just been a bunch of guys whose job it was to figure out how to fucking rev engines
a lot of strings
remotely.
being pulled.
Hmm. I'm sure it was wire. Like, come on,
Yeah.
let's be fair.
You know, this also reminds me of like this could have been a scene in a Poltergeist movie.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Oh,
Out
the
of fucking
Harryhausen.
yeah, out of fucking nowhere, we're getting a fucking
Freddy.
Skella Freddy in a fucking Freddy movie. Like,
Yeah, they were going all out. See?
yeah, nobody was gonna have the fucking stones to do this in a theatrical movie till fuck. When was the next time? Like,
I can't. Well,
Terminator did it.
yeah,
Um, I'm not counting Evil Dead because Evil Dead wasn't sort of mainstream in the same way. Like,
right. Army of Darkness.
yeah, and Army of Darkness, they weren't worried about it not
I mean, they were
standing
doing
out.
the last time the time before this shit you saw them do that is in a fucking Jackson's video where they had them dance as skeletons.
Just
So
think
yeah, it
of
didn't come back till later. And to me, it wasn't perfected till Pirates of the Caribbean.
Still have not seen that. All right, that's
The
another.
first one is great.
Okay, that's what I've heard. So it's like, just have not. All right, so if you go read on the trivia page, um, this was all pre-digital, and I think it's Chuck Russell saying this was like
Mm.
the biggest pain in the ass in the world.
It
The
looks
this
good though.
effect, yeah, like it was the biggest pain in the ass in the world because it was pre-digital. What you don't know, folks, is the reason we have digital is because somebody figured out how to fucking print, import frames to a computer in like 1988 or 87, and Cameron was the first one to use the technology in the Abyss or
Mm.
something. And that's why your CGI in other stuff is usually it's the whole field, right? Like the Genesis video, that's all CGI. Last Starfighter, that's all CGI. It's
Oh yeah.
not printed back on the frame, and it was discovered as a like presentation something. Okay, here's the biggest bullshit in the fucking movie.
You see
Sorry,
that
was that
Disney
out
shit?
loud? Yep. There needs to be a point to this if you're going to do it, and there's not on every level of what's about to fucking happen. Her hair's fixed.
Right. You don't see the street.
No.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
this the fake ending before the final boss.
Yeah.
Oh, mm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
There goes the gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So I guess some of what's weird is that like Nancy and Freddie do not have like a we do not have a Jamie Lee Curtis Michael Myers nemesis relationship here, like in any way, shape, or form. It's very strange.
no. It's like the comic books that followed built that up.
Okay.
Or I don't even like because so many people have had different versions of Nightmare on Elm Street, the
Right.
comic. Can't really But the one constant is Nancy, or somebody related to Nancy.
Interesting. Must have to do with the license.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe the streak still is there, but they were using a different one. Okay. So originally, according to the IMDb trivia page, what I find interesting about the IMDb trivia page and the Wikipedia page, for that matter, is that we've had one of those mega Nightmare on Elm Street documentaries, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the things people talk about seems like somebody would have talked about in one of those, and they have no citations for them. So it's very interesting. They're like, well, there's a rumor that in the original ending, Nancy is dreamed into the doll where she protects over her Craig Wasson. What's the her zaddy Craig Wasson or whatever, like her ginger fox Craig Wasson. But they cut it or they didn't film it, and it's like, well, wouldn't that have been mentioned in Never Ending Sleep, Part 17, Hour 2 of the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary or something? Okay, so here we discover, as they are so obviously in fucking Los Angeles, California, that Amanda Kruger's been dead the whole time.
She was a ghost, man.
She was a ghost. And now he's asleep. We get no resolution with Patricia Arquette. Fuck you. You were the protagonist for the first act. Fuck you. You don't get shit.
Oh, the doll.
The doll. But wait.
But wait. Oh.
And so Freddy's still there. But originally, if this were going to end the trilogy, it was going to be implied that that was Nancy keeping a nice watch on her old man.
Beetlejuice moved into the house.
Yep. Um,
Hey.
like
Walk out of the theater feeling cool. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
The Grips from Hell. Wow, they're all named Bob. That's cool. More Bobs. Chaz Bob. I just don't like the end. I feel like the end's too limp for everything else they did.
Well, I think this should have just carried on into the next movie. A little smoother
Right.
without the intention of like deliberately passing this shit on.
Right, because I mean, this is passing it from Nancy. That's okay, so that is one way to always make sequels, which we have seen over the years, is you pass it from the original to the next by the end of the next movie, and then you pass it from that person to the next by the end of the
Yeah.
without ever giving anybody their own fucking movie is oh my god, I heard that they're making an Uncharted 2.
No.
No? Okay.
With who?
With Tom Holland.
Shit.
I heard that that's like in the cards, but I could be that could have been a nightmare. A really
I
boring
rewatched
nightmare.
I rewatched the his Spider-Man movies recently. I don't dislike them. I don't like how they just Shia LaBeoufed his ass. You know, they took him from Spider-Man and then just threw him in everything. And he's not bad. It's just stop trying to make him a movie star.
Yeah.
Because you know what happens when you do that? You get thrown in a movie like Uncharted with fucking Mark Wahlberg.
Or you end up like Shia LaBeouf.
Or you end up like, well, it doesn't hurt that Tom Holland, got him a little piece. Him walking around with Zendaya towering over his ass isn't a bad thing, but
This is a long song.
well, see, they got paid.
Electric Records. Based
You
on
ask for Dawkins, you
Hold
get
up.
Dawkins.
Dude. I love how that Wes Craven credit, even though his name was up front, I love how they put it on there. Like, they're like, no, we weren't fucking you over with the last one, Wes. Like, that's where we're always going to put it, no matter how much involvement you have. So, Dream Warriors saved the franchise if it needed saving. I mean, we don't know. They could have released. So, didn't talk about it, but you can read about it on Wikipedia and IMDb trivia. John Saxon and Freddy Krueger both had ideas for a third one. It's unclear if anybody asked them to come up with ideas for the third one or just when they were interviewed, they had an answer. But Saxon's idea was that Freddy was framed by the Manson family. It's a prequel movie. Yep. And England's idea was Amanda Weiss's sister comes back from college.
Oh, she has a sister all of a sudden.
Yeah. Goes to Nancy's house, which Freddy has turned into a house of horrors.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that was reused for the Freddy's Nightmare pilot movie or whatever. Parts of it, which means any of it. Anyway, but they did this, and then, like we said last time, Russell and Darabont went on to make The Blob, so they didn't stick around. And the screenwriter we will get for 4 is Leslie Bohm, who apparently had one of the ideas, and this is some of it is a recycled idea for the original 2 sequel. And 4 is directed by Stephen Hopkins, who is coming off of whatever his Australian movie about the fucking department store pseudo slasher. They fight a survivalist and teens fight a survivalist in a department store where they're locked in.
Wait a minute, it's not Phantom of the Mall, is it?
No, it's called check it out. It's all right. It's Hopkins. It's all right, Hopkins. It's a dangerous game. Yeah. It's about a computer expert and his friends manage to disable a department store's security so they're going to rob it. But once they're inside, they're stalked by a killer who shoots at them with arrows and shit. So, yes. Not terrible. Not terrible stuff from Hopkins there. But yes, so that'll be next time.
Yes. I don't know what else we could throw on this one. It was a good one.
Yeah.
It sort of set the pace for what was to come afterwards. I think for the franchise, it just it doesn't get any better, with the exception of 4, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think 3 is probably the best balance you get as far as they took it kind of seriously. 4 is when it just becomes, okay, this could be something the people in the movie go to watch at the movies, sort of shit. And and then 5, well, like I say, we'll get to it, because 5 is just 5 had a lot going against it, and they just said to hell with it ultimately.
And then 6 is 6 is something special. We'll get to it. But then we got New Nightmare to close us out. So
yeah, and that one's not bad.
No. And we can talk about New Line by the time of New Nightmare, because I think that was 10th anniversary too. I think it was 94, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bookending. for something we didn't start this time. Anyway, yeah. So,
Well,
Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors, again, it was good. It was one of the highlights. It sort of, I would say, definitely bounced back from 2 in a big way. And then it just sort of snowballed. It went up and then it came right back down because, again, well, 4 and 5 is kind of the sort of, what do you call it? The zenith of Freddy Mania. And that's when the franchise sort of started believing its own bullshit, and then it went off and spun off into so many different things.
When the franchise became the brand.
Right.
Ugh.
So we'll get around to all of that, especially with the next 2 movies. So stay tuned, kids. Good evening.